Mr. Speaker, with this Article 67, that is the message. It didn't come out clearly with what the content of the message is. But if you pick the Article 34, Clause 2, the President shall report to Parliament at least once a year all the steps taken to ensure realization of the policies objectives obtained in this chapter, and in particular, realization of the basic human rights and healthy economy, the right to work, the right to good health care, and the right to education. Mr. Speaker, on that note, let us ask ourselves if indeed the SONA contains this context. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, one of our members of Parliament, our sister, the former Deputy Minister for Finance, depicted that the SONA, that it states the message that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama came about, was actually not in a right state. But I want to tell her that as a woman, I was surprised about some comment that was made. Because when she made mention of the fact that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama gave out heavily expansion fiscal policy without any financial or funds allocated to it. She is a finance minister. I want to ask her that if the State of the Nation address is supposed to come out with outlined financial lines towards it, that is why we have the budget that will be read on Tuesday, on the 11th of March. That is when she would get to know the policies and the visions that align to the state's policy with its budget allocation. Again, she clearly made mention that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is actually concerned about this collapse of banks because he in some way wants to give license. This is very insensitive. Because how can you collapse banks? Up to now, some people have not been able to recover. People are on the streets. People are unemployed. Look at people's money that has been invested in it. Look at the money you use in collapsing it. And look at the money which, if you had used to save them, wouldn't have been perfect. Mr. Speaker, now they talk about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama being a terminator. Mr. Speaker, if you want to come to the table of equity, come with clean hands. Come with clean hands. If you are able to, collapse banks, and people who was unemployed, you cannot today say that. But even Mr. Speaker, with determination, it was legally right, as Honorable James Agaga said earlier on. As I continue, yesterday, I am happy that the Honorable Oponkoma is here. Yesterday, I am so surprised. My respectable colleague, he made mention that he couldn't even hear. He couldn't even hear that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama spoke about job creation and then he said any initiatives. But if
Honorable members. Honorable members.
I want to help
Honorable
you.
members, please, we lay down the rules. Your name is so sweet. Don't worry. Your name is so sweet.
Mr. Speaker, he made mention clearly that he didn't hear His Excellency John Dramani Mahama talking about job creation initiatives. But you know, sometimes I remember when I wasn't in Parliament. When I was in Parliament and I used to listen to Sona, I sometimes do not get captured about these things. But today, per the Constitution, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama delivered perfectly the constitutional rights. And Mr. Speaker, if he didn't hear, maybe because it took like an hour or half, and so I will help him. Under the job creation, he made mention a Jumara program, which supports 2,000 youth employment annually with training, capacity, and mentorship. The National Apprenticeship Program target 10,000 youth with skills training and setup kits. Okada or motorcycle transport reformed, introducing the electric motorcycle under the high purchase scheme. 1 million coded program, the youth training in digital skills, coding, web development, digital marketing. These are few that I made mention of. Mr. Speaker, that Swami MP, when he was talking about mining, I am so surprised he had the effrontery to talk about mining.
Honorable.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, please withdraw that statement.
Mr.
That
Speaker,
word.
I am guided. I withdraw.
Withdraw that word.
Mr. Speaker, I am guided. I withdraw. Mr. Speaker, when he was talking about it, I was waiting.
I have asked her to withdraw.
She has withdrawn.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members.
Mr.
I
Speaker.
have asked her to withdraw that word.
Don't worry. Mr. Speaker, I am guided.
You are guided?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, I was thinking that he would make mention the things that they did during their previous government. But Mr. Speaker, surprisingly, we had excavators seized. Mr. Speaker, instead of you looking at these mining communities,
Honorable members, I asked her to withdraw, and he has withdrawn.
So, Mr. Speaker, the excavators were seized, and in those communities are the most deprived communities.
Honorable member,
those excavators and machines should go and reshaping the roads. And these excavators were seized and come somewhere. Where is that?
Wind up for me.
Mr. Speaker, please permit me to continue on this because it's very important to me. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, wind up for me. Your time is up, please.
Mr. Speaker, when we talk, Mr. Speaker, I was so happy.
Honorable members,
Mr.
I am being guarded by the table. They give me the time.
Mr. Speaker, with this constitutional mandate on the health sector.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
No, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Let me wrap up.
Honorable Millicent, thank you.
Mr. Speaker, let me wrap up. Please, 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Mr. Speaker, 1 minute. Mr. Speaker, 1 minute. Mr. Speaker, on the health sector, His Excellency John
Honorable
Dramani
member,
Mahama said
please, enough
the
is enough.
agenda 111.
Honorable member, enough is
He
enough.
showed clearly that they didn't work. Mr. Speaker, on the free SHS, he made mention of it. That he's going to continue inclusive. Mr. Speaker, we will come back again. On that note, thank you for the opportunity given to me.
Have you seen the way the minority leader is looking at you? Yes, let's hear you. Who is having his microphone on?
Consult the oracles.
Yes. Speaker, in fact, let me give a background to what I'm going to speak to. Yesterday, we were supposed to do a motion advertised in today's order paper as item 16 on page 6. It had to be stood down. And today, we reached a consensus that that motion will be moved. So earlier on, our colleagues have also, specifically the First Deputy has appealed to us that we should take the report on the appointment committee, which our side has agreed to do. However, Speaker, we want to begin with item 16 on page 6, after which we'll proceed to take the appointment committee's report. Already, the report has been laid. So, Speaker, shall we proceed from item 16 on page 6? I thank you.